Good evening. I'd like to welcome. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Buffalo Toronto Public Media. I'm Daniel Robertson, manager of the Boys and Men of Color Initiative with Say Yes Buffalo and a Muhammad Ali project partner. Thank you to all of the project partners, Tommy McClam of Say Yes Buffalo and Daryl Graham of the Buffalo Police Athletic League's youth boxing program. Tonight, we will view part of the documentary Muhammad Ali, followed by a discussion of the boxing champion's 6 core principles: confidence, conviction, dedication, respect, giving, and spirituality. Now, we will watch 30 minutes of the documentary to learn a little bit more about the life of Muhammad Ali and how much more of just a boxing champion he was. Much more than a boxing champion. Oh, man. Ali challenged America.
You want some breakfast?
I want some cornflakes.
Can I have some of your cornflakes? Oh, I don't want none. I won't take none. I won't take none. I won't eat none if you don't want me to. Ooh, look at that pretty horse there. Is that a white horse? See? Now stand up. Look over there. Stand up. You gotta stand up over that field. See the big one? There he is.
My earliest memories that I can think of as a child with my father are walking through airports and being in crowds and feeling in the vibrations of people's clapping and shouts in my chest. And just looking at my dad, you know, like, who is this person? And it was all the time, anywhere we went. You're the greatest, we love you, and the clapping, and Muhammad. I loved feeling all the energy and the love that he felt.
We now think of Muhammad Ali as this vulnerable guy lighting the torch in Atlanta, and everybody on the globe loves him. Black people like him, white people. He's a universal hero, like, but almost in a religious way, like the Buddha. But when he was in the midst of his career, and not just in the early bit, he was incredibly divisive.
Boo, yell, scream, throw peanuts, but whatever you do, pay to get in.
People hated him, whether it was along racial lines, class lines, Vietnam lines, political lines, religious lines, where they just couldn't stand him. And people, of course, had the opposite, and this was, I loved him, loved him. But you had an opinion about him.
I ain't scared of nobody. It's gonna take a good man to whoop me. You can look at me, I'm loaded with confidence. I can't beat me. I had 180 hours to fight, 22 seconds to fight, and I'm good as a girl.
Look how pretty I am. My long trimmed legs and my beautiful arms and my pretty nose and mouth. I know I'm a pretty man. I know I'm pretty. You don't have to tell me I'm pretty. I'm cocky, I'm proud.
You never talk about who's gonna stop me. Well, ain't nobody gonna stop me.
I say what I want to say. Ain't no more big talking like this.
He was a pioneer, he was a revolutionary, he was a groundbreaker, a guy known simply as the greatest.
I am the greatest.
I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning and put thunder in jail. You know I'm bad. I can drown a drink of water and kill a dead tree.
This will be no contest.
Wait till you see Muhammad Ali.
To have that chutzpah and to be a black man in America it was outlandish.
Muhammad means worthy of all praises, and Ali means most high.
And I just don't think I should go 10,000 miles in here and shoot some black people that never caught me. I just can't shoot it.
I always wonder why Miss America was always white. Santa Claus was white. White swan soap, king white soap, white cloud tissue paper, and everything bad was black. Black cat was the bad luck, and if I threaten you, I'm gonna blackmail you. So Mama wanted to call it white male. They lied too.
I love being around him. I love being around Muhammad Ali.
You gonna float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Ah, rumble, young man, rumble. Ah.
The price of freedom comes high. I have paid, but I am free.
Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose.
The winner and still heavyweight champion of the world. And the greatest fight of all time. Of all time.
Hey, I'ma keep on running, cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
He called himself the greatest, and then proved it to the entire world. He was a master at what is called the sweet science, the brutal and sometimes beautiful art of boxing. Heavyweight champion at just 22 years old, he wrote his own rules, in the ring and in his life, infuriating his critics, baffling his opponents, and riveting millions of fans. At the height of the civil rights movement, he joined a separatist religious sect whose leader would, for a time, dominate both his personal life and his boxing career. He spoke his mind and stood on principle even when it cost him his livelihood. He redefined black manhood, yet belittled his greatest rival using the racist language of the Jim Crow South in which he had been raised. Banished for his beliefs, he returned to boxing an underdog, reclaimed his title twice, and became the most famous man on earth. He craved adulation his whole life, seeking crowds on street corners, in hotel lobbies, on airport tarmacs, everywhere he went, and and reveled in the uninhibited joy he brought each adoring fan. He earned a massive fortune, spent it freely, and gave generously to family, friends, even strangers, anyone in need. Service to others, he often said, is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Even after his body began to betray him and his brain had absorbed too many blows, he fought on, unable to go without the attention and drama that accompanied each bout. Later, slowed and silenced by a cruel and crippling disease, he found refuge in his faith, becoming a symbol of peace and hope on every continent. Muhammad Ali was, the novelist Norman Mailer wrote, the very spirit of the 20th century.
I'm always gonna be one black one who got big on your white televisions, on your white newspapers, on your satellites, $1 million checks, and still look you in your face and tell you the truth and 100% stay with and represent my people and not leave them and sell them out because I'm rich and stay with them. That was my purpose. I'm here and I'm showing the world that you can be here and still free and stay yourself and get respect from the world.
One day in October of 1954, 12-year-old Cassius rode his bicycle into downtown Louisville, while Rudy sat on the handlebars. It began to rain, and the boys took cover in the Columbia Auditorium, where a home appliance show was underway. After the rain stopped, they emerged to find that the bicycle was gone.
He had a brand new Schwinn, a beautiful red bicycle that he shared with his brother. And he went running around looking for his bicycle and then ran back into the community center asking for help. Someone told him there was a police officer in the basement.
He went down, and the cop in the basement was this Joe Martin, who was running a little boxing school.
Cassius told the story years later that for a minute he forgot about his bike because the sight of this boxing gym, the smell of the leather and the sweat, and the excitement, the action of boys in a ring hitting each other, black and white together.
And he, reported the crime, and I'm going to get the guy, and I'm going to, kill him. Joe Martin said, well, do you know how to fight? Fight. And that was the beginning.
Though his father was reluctant to let his son train with a white police officer, the lessons were free, and Cassius was eager to learn. At first, the young boxer did not impress Martin. He was just ordinary, the trainer recalled, and I doubt whether any scout would have thought much of him.
Cassius didn't show any special talent right away, but he showed enormous passion. He knew instantly that this was what he wanted to do. Boxing was perfect for him because there's just two guys in the ring, and your eye is always going to be drawn naturally to the one who's doing the most moving, who's doing the most punching, who's moving the fastest. And that was him, and he knew that he could get the most attention that way.
Just 6 weeks after he walked into Joe Martin's gym, Cassius Clay had his first amateur fight.
I, at that time, was putting on a local television show here in Louisville, and I had amateur bouts every Saturday afternoon. First bout I put him in, he weighed 87 pounds.
After defeating 14-year-old Ronnie O'Keefe in a split decision, Clay immediately announced to everyone that one day he would be called the greatest of all time.
He was always been a little braggart. I'm the greatest and all that before he even got to be the greatest. We'd say, oh, shut up, precision run in your mouth. But as he got better and better, we had more respect for him.
In May, Ali began a month-long tour of African countries. In Accra, the capital of Ghana, thousands gathered at the airport to catch a glimpse of the world's new heavyweight champion. Outside his hotel, Ali heard a familiar voice. Brother Muhammad called Malcolm X, who was on his own overseas tour. He greeted Ali enthusiastically. "I still love you," he told the boxer. "You left the Honorable Elijah Muhammad," Ali said. "That was the wrong thing to do." There was little else to say. Malcolm walked away. Ali met with Ghanaian President Kwame Nkrumah, sparred with his brother Rudy, now known as Rahman, before thousands at a local sports stadium, and took every opportunity to engage the admirers who turned up everywhere Ali went. He also spoke out against integration in America, advocating for a separate state for black people, and dismissed the sweeping civil rights bill under consideration in the U.S. Congress as counterfeit money. Later, he visited Nigeria and Egypt, where he and Herbert Muhammad met with President Gamal Abdel Nasser and prayed with 1,500 worshippers at Cairo's Al-Hussein Mosque. The deep affection Africans showered on Ali during his 5-week trip showed that his success in the ring and outspokenness beyond it had won him an enormous following, well beyond the United States.
Well, remember that the African continent itself was in the throes of liberation, from colonial status. It was liberation time, and Muhammad Ali was a figure of liberation.
Before leaving Africa, Ali received a cable from his former friend and mentor. "Because 1 billion of our people in Africa, Asia, and Arabia love you blindly, you must now be forever aware of your tremendous responsibility to them," Malcolm X wrote. "You must never do or say anything that will permit your enemies to distort the beautiful image you have here among our people."
I frankly believe that Cassius is in a better position than anyone else to restore a sense of racial pride to not only our people in this country, but all over the world. And he is trying his best to live a clean life and project a clean image. But despite this, you find the press is constantly trying to paint him as something other than what he actually is. He doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink. In fact, if he was white, they would be referring to him as the All-American Boy.
Ali's next fight had been scheduled for March 29, 1966 in Chicago, against the 6'6" Ernie Terrell, the boxer who had been awarded the World Boxing Association title after they had stripped it from Ali. Most boxing fans still viewed Ali as the real champ, and a defeat of Terrell would cement his claim. "I want our soldiers and Marines to see what a real champion looks like," said Terrell, who promised to sign up for an exhibition tour in Vietnam after defeating Ali.
And we announced the fight, and tickets were going very well, and we were securing closed-circuit exhibitors around the country. I had hoped it would be the biggest Ali promotion ever at that point. When Ali said, "I got nothing against the Viet Cong," Mayor Daley immediately contacted the Illinois Athletic Commission and told them to throw us out of Chicago.
To salvage the fight, Ali backed away from his statements and offered to come before the Illinois State Athletic Commission to apologize. But after having breakfast with Elijah Muhammad before the hearing, he reversed course.
I'm asking you if you apologize for the unpatriotic remarks that you made.
Anything, I'm not apologizing for nothing like that because I don't have to. I'm apologizing to the people who in charge of the selective service. Those are the people that we'll take this up with. I'm not in court now for that. I'm a champ of the world. This is athletic commissioner, and I'm here to fight for the title, and I'm just apologizing for what I said to the newspapers and to the press when I should have had these things to say, and they will from now on be said with the people who are in charge of this.
Mr. Clay, when you...
Muhammad Ali, sir.
Mr. Clay
Muhammad Ali,
or
sir.
Mr. Muhammad Ali, either
Yes, sir.
one.
Just Muhammad Ali.
When
sir.
you appeared before this commission before, if I recall correctly, you said you were the people's champion?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that you're acting like a people's champion?
Yes, sir.
that same day, the Illinois Attorney General declared the fight illegal.
We determined that the application and the license violated state law.
I don't know what kind of statements Clay made. The only thing that I can figure out about Clay is he's guilty of being stupid.
And once we got out of Chicago, every city in the United States virtually did a pylon. And the pylon was, Kalamazoo will not accept the fight. You know, nobody had asked them. But so it became obvious to me that we couldn't do the fight in the United States.
Arum eventually found a venue for the fight in Toronto, Canada. But Terrell rejected the terms of the new contract and pulled out. With less than 3 weeks to go, promoters scrambled to find another opponent. George Chuvalo, the Canadian heavyweight champion, agreed to take Terrell's place.
He's going to fight George Chuvalo in Toronto because that patriotic mayor, Daley of Chicago, has said he can't abide the traitors fighting in his midst. So I go up there and I come to Sully's AC Gym. I go in the back. And Luis Cerrita, the Cuban exile, is giving him a massage. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, somebody said there's a fight." He said, "Nah, you know this is not much of a fight." I said, "Well, I'll tell you the truth. Muhammad, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of young American men who do not want to fight in this war for reasons of conscience or religion or whatever else are coming to Canada and they've been granted political asylum. So I'm here to see if he got home." He got off that thing so fast and got in my face, I thought he was going to hit me. He said, "You know better than that." He said, "Look," and these are the words, I remember them so well, "America is my birth country. No one's going to chase me out of my birth country. I belong in my birth country. Now, I don't make the laws in my birth country. So if the law says I got to go to jail, I'll go to jail. Elijah did, I will do it, but I'm going home to my birth country," and you could tell that to everybody. I was positive he'd go to jail if he had to.
George Chuvalo lasted all 15 rounds, giving Ali what he called his toughest fight yet. This time, Las Vegas oddsmakers favored Ali.
Here he comes.
At 10:26 p.m. on January 28, 1974, before a sold-out Madison Square Garden, Muhammad Ali entered the ring.
Here comes Joe Frazier, Smoking Joe.
Frazier followed a minute later.
You're looking at the man many consider the most spectacular athlete of all time, Muhammad Ali. Joe Frazier gets a chance to prove tonight what he thought he proved 3 years ago, that he's a better fighter than Muhammad Ali.
Joe's coming off the loss against George Foreman. So that's going to affect the level of the craft. But with Ali and Joe, it was always hugely personal. These guys despise each other. They're foes for life.
In the first round, Ali shuffled and jabbed and kept Frazier from finding his rhythm.
Frazier's coming in wide open, wide open. The question is if Frazier can hold up under this punishment and Ali slows down.
Late in the second, Ali wobbled Frazier with a stiff right to his head.
Ali is dominating the fight.
The difference between this fight and the first fight is that Muhammad is focused on making Joe find him through his movement. When you try to make a guy find you, you can disrupt his rhythm, because if I'm moving, you don't control when I punch. I control when you punch.
Ali keeping Frazier off balance.
As the fight went on, Ali mixed his jabs with hooks and combinations and relied on clinches to stifle Frazier's attack.
Ali doing the holding.
In the first fight, Joe was like a Tasmanian devil. He never stopped punching. And if Ali held him, you could see Joe take his hands and put him down and just kept on punching. When Ali held Joe in the second fight, you never saw Joe react like that. He's cooperating with Muhammad.
Ali is outsmarting Frazier. Frazier can't afford to give any more rounds away.
Frazier just kept coming, absorbing Ali's punches as he attempted to get under Ali's arms and land his lethal left hook.
What was holding Frazier back was the ghosts of getting knocked out by George Foreman a year prior. Now, when you're a heavyweight champion and you go to Jamaica and you end up getting knocked out by this guy, that makes you plummet. That's something you never forget. So this Joe Frazier and the one from 71, two different people. If you're Joe Frazier, every time you get hit, like a solid shot, you think about the last time you got knocked out.
In rounds 7 and 8, Frazier broke through, tagging Ali with several devastating punches, including one that sent Ali to the ropes as the bell rang to signal the end of the 8th.
Ali's face is getting puffy.
That's by far the best round for Joe Frazier.
Frazier is so confident at this point.
In the 9th, his face swollen from Frazier's blows and his nose trickling blood, Ali connected with 10 punches for every one landed by Frazier, inspiring chants of Ali from the electrified crowd.
This is as good as the last fight. Plenty of excitement at old Madison Square Garden. This is the last round. There's no tomorrow, only tonight. The bout could end in a draw.
"You gotta stop him to win," Dundee shouted at Ali as Frazier chased after him, desperately launching left hooks.
Tremendous left hook. Frazier's teeing off. Now Frazier is getting careless. They're putting everything into this. Now it's a battle for survival. What a finish!
It's all over, and judges have their work cut out for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Here is your decision. The winner by unanimous decision is Muhammad Ali.
In 1996, the Olympic Committee, planning the Summer Games in Atlanta, asked Muhammad Ali to light the torch at the opening ceremonies. At first, Ali declined. He didn't want to be seen shaking and stumbling on that stage. But his friend Howard Bingham convinced him, "This is the thing where the world is saying, thank you for all that you've done over your life," Bingham told him. "There will be 3 billion people watching." The plans were kept secret.
Do you recognize her? Janet Evans.
Considered the greatest female distance swimmer of all time.
And it was planned very brilliantly. I mean, people really thought the swimmer, Janet Evans, was going to be the person who was going to light that torch. But instead, out of nowhere comes Muhammad Ali.
I'll take the long road.
You hadn't really seen him in a while. You knew he was sick, and when you would see him, he was clearly showing the effects of the illness, but he hadn't been seen that much, and then here he is in this big prominent moment. And he's holding that torch and he's shaking. And man, I'm about to cry now. It was hard to watch because you don't want to see your guy like that. You don't want to see that. But you saw it.
He was defenseless. Now, he can't hurt us anymore. You know, he can't make us mad anymore. Because now the game that we ask him to play to entertain us has left him looking like this. Now we feel some sympathy, if not guilt. We see him shaking, trembling up there. The most beautiful athlete in motion you've ever seen. And now he can't hold the torch. You know, so we feel guilt and we feel sympathy. We want to hug him, we want to embrace him, we want to ask his forgiveness. You know, everything, for every reason that we disliked him, now we love him. You know, because he was right.
It was striking to see this evolution, not in Ali, but in us. It just struck me so amazingly to watch Ali riding this torch, people weeping. It's amazing. And you cast back not so many years before, and some huge amount of the country thought this guy was the Antichrist, where they chose to hate him, where they made him a foil to the other guy that they liked better. And it's entirely possible that human beings are capable of learning something.
I'll take the long road. Yeah, yeah. The outpouring of love caught Ali by surprise. Parkinson's robs you of confidence, Lonnie told a reporter. Now he knows the public will love him and accept him, no matter what he has.
Welcome back. It's time to welcome our guests for the discussion portion of tonight. So, here with me tonight, a couple young men from the Breaking Barriers Youth Leadership Council. I have with me Joseph Brown, Xavier Lamar, Malik Stubbs, and Dorian Withrow. So, gentlemen, welcome. You guys are here tonight for the discussion. And why don't you guys just tell our audience just a little bit about yourselves tonight. So, Joseph, we'll start with you.
Hello, my name is Joseph Brown. I'm 16 and I go to Da Vinci, and you know, my goals and aspirations is to be an artist, a musical artist.
Welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Xavier Lamar. I'm 17 years old and I go to Tapestry Charter School, and my future aspirations in life is to become a politician in this country.
Welcome, Xavier.
Hello, my name is Malik Stubbs. I attend Medaille College, and I'm 27 years old, and my goals is to be a executive leader, a politician, and a filmmaker.
Welcome, Malik.
All right, so my name is Dorian Withrow. I attend Canisius College. I'm 21, and some of my goals include, you know, poetry and teaching.
All right, there you are. These are our panelists tonight. So tonight we'll be discussing Ali's 6 core principles in detail. Muhammad Ali was a man who believed that the greatest possibilities for global peace and unity begin with individual transformation. His life embodied his principles and ideas. They guided him through the hard work necessary to be the best athlete he could be. And they gave him strength and courage throughout his life to stand up for what he believed. Please post any questions or comments in the chat, and we'll get to them as we are able. All right, so gentlemen, we're going to talk about the first core principle, and Ali's first core principle is confidence. And Joseph, I know you know all about confidence. You're one of the most confident people I know, but confidence is belief in oneself, one's abilities, and one's future. Ali had the confidence and the drive to become an Olympian and a world heavyweight champion. He lifted people of color in the U.S. and all around the world, announcing, "I'm pretty, I'm the greatest." So, Joseph, we're gonna start with you. What are your thoughts and views on confidence as Ali, one of Ali's principles?
Confidence is necessary, man. It's just like growing up where we all grew up. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And then like me being in the position where I am, like I have glaucoma, so it's like in situations where a lot of people wouldn't react, like their confidence will go down, mine just goes up. Because it's just like every time, you're not gonna tear me down. That's how, really Ali was. Like the dude, what was his name, Frazier? He was boxing him. He hit him with a few, a few pieces. But Brody he ain't get down. You can't get down. He came back and he won.
All right. Where do you think your confidence? Where do you think it comes from?
I think it comes from because it's not like overnight. You feel me? Like I grew it over time just from being around different people, being like, it's many rooms I step in and I'm the only black man in the room. And it's like, I don't want that, but those situations, they can either fold you or make you do better, make you feel better. So that's what I do. I take every negative thing and I turn it into positivity and I use it as my confidence, basically.
All right.
You can't tell me nothing. Feel me? Like, I'm good looking, so it's really just comes down to that.
There's Muhammad Ali coming out. I'm pretty. All right. So I'm gonna throw this out to all of you guys in regards to confidence, right? Because as young black males, why is it important that young black men especially carry themselves with confidence? I'm throwing this out to anyone.
I would say it's important because the way history has shown us, it's like the exact opposite, So you can't just keep going with the times. You have to step in and you have to be the loudest person in the room. And people are afraid of that though. But you have to do that. You just have to be confident, like, or you're not gonna succeed. If you don't believe in yourself, who's gonna believe in you? You want to be the president. If you tell somebody, like, oh yeah, I want to be a politician, but I'm not that guy. I don't know a lot of stuff. No one's gonna vote for you. Right? You have to have that behind you every time you speak. Every time your presence is near.
You bring up a good point right there, Joseph, and I'm gonna push a little bit deeper in regards to confidence, especially with you, Xavier, because you strike me as a very confident individual, and you speak with pride when you talk about wanting to become the president of the United States one day. So where do you pull that confidence from when you say that? Because when I hear you say it, I believe it, and it's because you say it with so much confidence.
Just looking at the way our world is today, like when you see like wrongdoings happening in the world, you want to fix those wrongdoings. And for me, when I want to fix those wrongdoings, like I actually take the time to research stuff, research policy decision, research like what could actually make our city, our state, our country better place to live. And so when people ask me, hey, why do you want to be president? I'm going to lay them out. I'm going to lay what my policy goals, what I want to see happen to our country. I want to see a universal health care. I want to see a Green New Deal. I want to see these huge policy proposals get passed. And because I actually take the time to not only just virtue signal about them, but actually take the time to actually do my research, study up upon them, then I can actually translate them to everyone else. And sometimes they're going to disagree with me. Sometimes they will agree with me. But you still just got to be confident in your beliefs. That's all I'm going to say.
It's great to be around a bunch of confident young brothers. So with that, let's move on to our next principle. The next core principle is conviction. Conviction, a firm belief that gives one the courage to stand behind that belief despite pressure to do otherwise. Ali found the courage and commitment to stand up for his own beliefs, no matter what the consequences were. When he faced being drafted to fight in the Vietnam War, Ali said, "The real enemy of people is right here. I will not disgrace my religion, my people, or myself by becoming a tool to enslave those who are fighting for their own justice, freedom, and equality." So what do you guys think of Ali's second principle, conviction? And Xavier, I'm coming to you on this one because I know you move with conviction, and so what are your thoughts on that?
Well, on the Ali quote, I'd say this: at the time of the Vietnam War, you got to understand, it was the mainstream opinion that this is war that we need to fight in. Every single man needs to go out to Vietnam and fight. But no, because the deal is that war, that was an unjust war. And Ali didn't want to go into no unjust war to kill people who didn't do nothing to him. Like, we got problems here in our own country. We still got segregation. We still got unequal distribution of wealth. Why do we need to spend time in overseas when we need to do what we need to fix up our country here within our own borders? So and what I really respect about Muhammad Ali is that he was someone who rocked the system. And especially in politics, if you just go along to get along, you ain't gonna get nowhere. If you think like just trying to cuddle up to the big cats and like, ooh, maybe if I just work with these people, hopefully one day I'll get to a stage where I'm the big cat one day. But what they don't realize is those big people, they're often corrupt. They often sometimes don't make the right decisions for us, and they've been in office for years. And so the way I carry myself with conviction is that if I know like I said before, if I know what my policy beliefs are, and I'm very confident in them, and sometimes I may not know everything, but I will always make sure I take the time to research them. But if I believe in my heart that that's the right decision, then I'm going to fight for it, and you can't change my mind on it. And what Muhammad Ali said in that video, which I really respect, he said, no, I ain't apologizing. And he was clear. They were talking about, hey, you're very unpatriotic. I hope you know you're a traitor to the country. He said, I don't care. I'm gonna stay. I have my own. He has his own convictions, and he ain't compromising for no one. And that's what you got to be in life. You got to be uncompromising. If you ain't gonna be an uncompromising individual, you're just not gonna get nowhere in life.
I like what you said there, and you just made me think about just even current events right now, right?
Yeah.
So, and staying with the sports thing with Ali and boxing. A couple years ago, we had Colin Kaepernick, right, who was standing up for something that he truly believed in regards to his own just personal convictions, in regards to some of the racial injustices and just things that are going on in our country and have been going on in our country for a long time. So what are your thoughts on even as sports athletes today, the Colin Kaepernicks, Kyrie right now in regards to just the pandemic? What are your thoughts on where they stand and the beliefs they have in regards to conviction now?
I would say that as far as sports athletes go, as far as the Kyrie point, is the whole vaccine talk. I ain't gonna get too deep into that, but I will get deep into the Colin Kaepernick. What he did was, I would say, immensely brave, because he's sacrificing. He really sacrificed his own career for a cause that he really believed in, and he never stuttered about, no, I want to take a knee. And here's the thing about it is, people say that, hey, we don't like all this rioting, we don't like all this looting. Can't y'all just protest in a peaceful way? And you know what he did? He protested in a peaceful way. But they don't like it that he protested during the national anthem. And what people can understand, him taking a knee while the national anthem is playing, that is how you really get your message out. You make noise. You're really honing your message about what's going on in the country and what you want to see change. And that is something where I encourage all sports athletes to do, especially during times where we see sometimes officers target young men of color sometimes. And I feel like if sports athlete came as a collective, they will probably be one of the most effective people in creating change, like for our community and just the entire country, because of just the amount of fame, the amount of money they carry. And if they were to all say, you know what, we ain't playing the games, you will see a lot of industries and corporations, they're just going to lose money. But that's all about having convictions. If you really believe in something, you will fight for it.
Nah, word though, like, if I could chime in, you have to stand on it. And a lot of people get angry with a lot of people because they're not standing on what they believe in, because they blend in. You can't blend in because that's not how things change. Stuff only changes if someone's angry about it. If you notice in history, that's all that happens. Women's suffrage movement, the the civil rights movement, all of these movements changed because a certain group of people were angry about how they were being treated. But people don't want to go, they don't want to agree with that. They don't want to step on that because then it can mess up their money, it can mess up their pockets, it can step into them because it doesn't directly affect them, so they don't care enough. That's why people are angry at Kyrie and Kaepernick, because they stood up for what they believe in. Kyrie don't care. You know how many millions he got? It's not always about money. It's about the people before you and the people after you, so you can shape the world into something different than when you got here. So when you leave, you can leave your legacy. That's a fact.
All right, right on. And I think Muhammad Ali kind of set the stage for a lot of these athletes kind of standing their ground on some of the issues that they've been standing their ground on for over the past couple of years. So
100%.
gotta commend Muhammad Ali for that and his conviction. So appreciate that. Moving on to our third core principle, which is dedication. Dedication for me, that kind of goes hand in hand with commitment. But dedication is the act of devoting all of one's energy, effort, and abilities to a certain task. From an early age, Ali found the physical endurance and discipline to become a world champion. Road work, gym work, sparring, diet, positive mindset, and putting his dreams first. So Malik, I'm coming to you on this one because I've known you for a very long time, and you strike me as a young man who tends to be very dedicated once you put your mind to something. And when you do that, you've succeeded in all the time that I've known you. So can you speak to Ali's core principle of dedication?
Yeah, so dedication is not an easy thing. So I'm currently like a graduate student right now, and like I have to be fully dedicated to complete my master's degree. And like with like this past year, I had to change a lot of things about myself. So number one, I had to get like a morning routine where I had to like find a way to wake up and be productive. Cause like before like this year, I admit I was really lazy. And I think
Not a word though.
Yeah, but I think that like eliminating my bad habits helped me become very productive. Another thing is stop overcommitting. Like I used to like overcommit to like things that wasn't valuable to my success. And I think like by having like a better plan, having a better strategy helped me like complete a lot of more things that I need to get done. I think that like endurance is the biggest part. Like sometimes like I used to wait to the last minute to get things done. And I think that didn't work because I felt like when you start things early, you have time to make those mistakes very early in the process. Because like when I got things done at the last minute, I always like messed up, always felt overwhelmed, and always quit. So I think that dedication is a huge commitment to anything that you do.
All right. Question for all of you, and well, any of you can respond to this. How does one stay dedicated in the face of adversary? Because oftentimes we'll have these roadblocks, and sometimes roadblocks will kind of get in your way and delay you from getting to where you want to be. So how do you stay dedicated when things are happening around you?
I think it's in.
Please, Dorian, join the conversation.
Right, you got it, bro.
So I think it's important to have like a goal for the end in mind, right? Have this goal that you want to have completed. And it's significant to have coping mechanisms when things do get hard. You know, the coping mechanisms would make dedication much more easy. And it wouldn't make, you know, the trials and tribulations that go with reaching that goal so hard, you know. And also having a good support system. You know, these people that would push you to be better than you are, would educate you, and also try to seek your understanding when things aren't so right in life, right? So, yeah, I think that's what I got for it.
So what are some of those things that you do that keeps you motivated, keeps you on task, keeps you dedicated to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish?
All right, so for me, I like to laugh, right? So
don't I know?
If I would like to, you know, like watch like a funny movie or a stand-up comedy. I would like exercise. I do poetry, so I can use that to get some distraction to escape the world a little bit. And And also, I do ITF Taekwondo, so I also help, like, go about, performing my patterns or techniques to just escape for a second and then get back into the groove so I can complete that goal.
Sweet.
Well,
wait, we got a question from the audience. You guys ready for this?
Yes.
This one is to Malik from a viewer.
Okay.
It says, Malik, you're a filmmaker. How do you see yourself bringing about change? That's the first question. And the second question is, are you interested in making documentaries?
Yeah. So I think like film is like one of the coolest things that we have in our society right now, because like right now that's how like people learn stories. That's how people are learning new materials in the world. And I think that like I want to use film to like empower people. Like I think that like there's a lot of like unhidden stories that people just don't know about. And I think that in the future I want to make like movies that talk about like young millennials like myself and how we struggle to come from like the east side of Buffalo, but actually worked our way to success. I think like films should not always be like funny or just like for entertainment. It should be like something for like inspire. It should be like inspiring to help like motivate like more people to be successful. And your other question is,
are you interested in making documentaries?
Yeah, I'm super interested. That's one of the courses I'm taking next semester. So hit me up.
Where can they find you, Malik?
Oh yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Malik D Stubbs, or you can find me on Instagram at Mayor Malik _. Yeah, those are the ways how to get in contact with me.
All right.
Just shoot me a DM.
Word though. My boy. But
Thanks, Malik. Oh, you want to contribute before we move on?
Yeah.
Go ahead, jump in.
So, for me though, it's a little different than Dorian. Like, a lot of people in my shoes, like, they'll be afraid to like lose their vision or lose like people around them. I'm afraid of going like being a grown man and being a bum, like a broke bum, not be able to do nothing with my life. So that's what motivates me. Like being able to be out in society and being something in your life. How people look at you, and that's respect. And if that don't work, then I look at my family. Because I feel like family is one of the most important things to me, like, in my life.
That's a good lead into our next principle, but we can't go there yet because we got another question. And keep those questions coming. All right, so the viewers want to know who are some of the people that you guys have in your support systems, and who are your everyday role models? So, the floor is open.
You want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I got multiple role models in my life. First, starting with my mom, of course. Like just the sacrifices that she makes for me, like just to get me to places, make sure I'm all straight and taken care of. It is something I very much appreciate about her. And my dad is another great motivator. Just seeing how hard he works every day just to make sure that I'm all good and safe is something that I really admire. It's something, type of father figure I want to aspire to be. And also, figures who really helped me in my life is also Daniel and PT. When I first came to Breaking Barriers, I was a little shy and all. Really, I was in a little shell of my own. I didn't want to really talk with anyone, just listening and just be to myself. But I think him and Daniel and PT, they really broken me out of my shell, gave me that confidence, gave me those convictions, stuff that will really help me in the future, really finding my place in the world. And that is something which I'm really glad that I was able to be a part of this program. And just having like all those figures in my life, that's what really helps motivate me. That will really keep me want to go and pursue my passions in life. So,
love it.
For me, I would say the top support systems in my life is my mom, because she always pushed me. Like, whatever I'm doing, if I make a song, she's like, yo, play that again. If it's like, if I learn a skill, she'll tell everybody about it. Like, she's just so proud of me, even where I'm at now. And that's nowhere near the success that I'm going to reach. But also probably my boy Ruben. Like, that's just every time I need something, or if I just need to talk, like, that's really who I usually go to. So that's what I would say, my friends. And role models, I mean, Daniel's alright. He cool sometimes. And definitely PT though. PT definitely is a
Shout
big
out to
role model
PT. PT should be up here with us, but
yeah, old man Jenkins ain't here though.
Come on now. We're going to respect next. We're going to keep that in mind. All right, Malik, we're coming to you and then we're going to shoot the door in.
All right, so my support system is my mother, of course. She's like my heartbeat. Also, I have like a lot of like good mentors from high school, like Dr. Kelly Cornlucci. I have another good mentor. His name is Uncle Dom. But he doesn't like me to give out his government name, so I won't give it out. But also, I have a lot of virtual mentors that like I haven't met. Like it's this guy. His name is Myron Rowe. He's basically a Rhodes Scholar, and he's a neurosurgeon at Harvard. And what makes him so unique is that he balanced athletics and academics. And I thought, like as a child, that was kind of impossible. Like I felt that like there's no way that you could be like a super smart jock, because I never really saw that before until I virtually saw Myron, where he was able to like go to like medical school and also like go to the NFL as well. But also my local role models is Mr. Dan Robinson, PT, Dave Russ, and many more. So yeah.
Dorian?
All right, so my support system, it consists of like everybody. I can take little bits and pieces from each of you, young or old, and make something of it, right? Like what can I take to make myself better? The different components of you. Maybe you speak really well, and maybe you're better at math, or maybe you can invest a lot better than I can, or maybe your resume building is just great. Like, what can I grab from every human being I'm around and make myself, that much more better? Right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate all those comments. And those of you watching at home or wherever you are, keep those questions coming. We're going to move on to our fourth principle, fourth principle of Ali's, and that's respect. Esteem for or a sense of worth or excellence of oneself and others. Ali's life led to him respecting himself and others, his purpose and God. He recognized that attaining these ideals was individual, communal, and universal. So, fellas, give us some examples of how you utilize the core principle of respect in your everyday lives, and what respect actually means to you.
I feel like respect just goes without even, like, to me, respect is more about your actions than your words, because it's people who you cannot like, but you respect them. It's people that you might love, but you really don't respect them though. So I feel like respect just means it's an understanding that the other person is valuable, the other person means something, and you're not gonna tear them down for certain things. Like, I respect everybody in this room just off the strength of y'all being here and y'all talking, because a lot of people can't do that. So that's what it means to me.
Thanks, Joseph. Anybody else care to jump in regards to respect? R-E-S-B-E-C-T.
I was. You want to go?
Or you can start first.
All right. So for me, respect is like, it's considering somebody or everybody on a playing field to where, like, you don't know everybody's condition, and somebody that we consider high status is sometimes much more respected than somebody that may not seem at the status that other person is, right? But I think that having respect for just in general builds character, and it builds a certain type of mind frame to be somebody that has an impact on the community, on children, on your work, and various other fields, right? So I think that's all I have to say about respect.
Yeah. Xavier, were you gonna say something?
Yeah. For me, I say thinking about respect. You know, as we go in our daily lives, like we just, like for me, I feel like I always got to be respectful, because at the end of the day, you just never know like who you're gonna run into, what opportunities are gonna lie with you, and sometimes, like just saying hello to someone, hey, how was your day? Hey, are you doing okay? Is your mind right? Like just simple stuff like that will really go a long way in making that person's day much better than it could have already been. And really for me, respect is just always making sure that you're always putting that value on that person, because at the end of the day, I think what Dorian alluded to is that everyone has a value to them. Never think that just because they're in a certain position that you don't need to really show that much respect to them. And I do think respect is, because we're going to that old question again, is respect guaranteed or is it earned? And for me, I think it's somewhat a mixture of both, because everyone deserves that value to have that guaranteed of respect. But to truly earn like true respect, like you also got to prove yourself as, like, do you have that respectfulness quality in you that makes me want to respect you? So that's what I would say in terms of just showing respect and how it relates to me in my daily life.
Respect definitely earned.
Love it.
Because like it's certain people, or for somebody's actions, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you got a girl, right? Mm-hmm. And she do something to you that's just wild, like you can't get over that. You're not gonna respect her after that.
Absolutely. That's when respect is obviously lost.
I feel like respect shouldn't just be guaranteed off of a person being a person or a person being a certain age, because it's a lot of grown people who don't deserve respect. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of kids who don't deserve respect. So that's why I feel like it's earned, though.
I like that comment that you made. It kind of feeds into this question I'm going to ask.
Oh,
we actually have a couple of questions, and I swear one of these sounds like a PT question, but because it's on purpose, you know, that's his favorite word. All right, so how do you show respect to someone who doesn't give you that same respect? That's the first question.
You don't. Oh, I can take this.
Hey, Joseph said you don't. Go ahead, Dorian.
Well, I think that, like, I think respect is like, sometimes it can be a one-way street, right? But how can you shape it mentally to where like maybe they do respect you, but it may not be perceived in the way that you would expect respect to be given. But let's say they don't. And it has to be shaped in your mind to where it wouldn't affect you and you're giving of respect to somebody else. Because you may not know their conditions, or they may have some internal, turbulence going on in terms of like your relationship. So I think really giving it, but understanding that you may not know everything about the person or your connection, and also, still even just it helps build you as a person. So I think I hope that helps. I don't know.
All right. Next question. You
want
want to jump in there?
Oh, no, I just want to hear Joe's response real quick.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I feel like y'all are saying stuff on a positive standpoint, and that's good, but just not everybody deserves your respect, just like everybody don't deserve your energy. Because respect is something that has to be shown. Respect, being a respected person is not a one-time thing. That's a daily thing you have to live. Like, you can't just, I'm at this stature, or I'm at this level of success, right? And I just deserve respect, because you could have been crooked to get to that level of success. Mark Zuckerberg stole Facebook. That's a fact. No, that's a fact.
You are correct.
So it's like, it is what it is. Respect is something, to me personally, you gotta earn it. You don't just give that out to everybody.
That's interesting, and I'll say this before I ask this question. So today I had the opportunity to be in a room full of a lot of influential leaders in our community, black leaders in our community, And one thing that kind of resonated with me today was someone just alluded to the fact that the time has kind of passed us where we automatically just respect our elders. And there was a whole conversation behind that today. But I do think to some degree that, you know, certain things you just do. Like, you always respect your elders. So I'm pushing back on your point a little bit. We can talk more about that. Next question. What is your advice for someone who is trying to find themselves in the world and find their purpose? That has PT written all over.
Yeah,
I
PT
swear.
definitely typed that question.
That sounds like a PT question because it's purpose.
Could you just repeat it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What is your advice for someone who's trying to find themselves in the world and find their purpose?
I would say this, like, try everything. And also, I mean, because it's like you never know what you like. And I feel like in order to find your purpose, you have to pursue your passion. You have to find something that you are willing to do every day for free. And you don't have to, like, think about it. It's just automatic. I think sometimes, like, we always, like, pursue the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And I think, like, we have to change that and try to focus on the passion for the opportunity.
So when you find your passion, you find your purpose.
Yes.
Like that.
I feel like thinking of your purpose is such a black and white way of looking at life. Because, like, my mom is a chef, she's a barber, she's a nurse. You feel me? Like, that's 3 totally different things that have no relation to each other, right? But she went to school for that. She went to nursing school, and then she went to cosmetology school. So it's like, your purpose can be multiple things. You don't have to be just one thing because that's what you want to do. You can wake up tomorrow and do something totally different, and that'll be fine. Like, yeah, you just can.
I agree with what you said. And also, I want to just think about all of those different fields that you just mentioned in regards to your mom. Those are all fields of service. So when you kind of narrow that down even more, your mom, she loves to serve and give, and we're gonna talk about giving too later on because that's one of the principles too. So that's great.
Shout out to my mom.
Yeah, shout out to your mom. She did a good job. All right.
Oh, I want to chime in. One thing I would say is that your purpose isn't someone else's purpose, and that person's purpose isn't your purpose. Now you can take a look at their values and see how you can take their values. If you have someone you idealize and you want to use the values they have so you can help fulfill your purpose, but you should never have so much jealousy in your heart of someone else because they're in a position that you're not, that you lose focus of what your own passion is. You need to stay in your own lane, and if you feel that your mindset changes because it's something that you want, there's no problem switching lanes in life, but you got to make sure it's something that you want to do, not something that you feel like you're obligated to do.
And if the lane not there for you, you got to make it. Make your own lane.
Okay, Wisdom. I feel like you guys growing up before my very eyes right now. You about to take your nickname too, man. This is Mr. Told You Something over here now. Come on.
Oh no, that's forever Confucius.
All right. Next question from the audience. This is a compliment as well. You've all demonstrated a good, solid knowledge of history. That is really impressive. Who taught you the most and where?
Who taught me the most? Definitely my mom. Like, me and my mom kick it like this all the time, just be talking. Because it's just like, I don't know. But if not her, then life taught me the most. Because, like, that's not gonna stop. You gonna wake up every day until you don't. So every experience that you have, everything that happens to you, you're supposed to take that and you're supposed to adjust to that to make you a better person. So that's what I would say taught me the most, just life experiences and my mom.
I would say it's the same for me. Like, my mother would call me downstairs when I was younger, and at like 12 years old, the last thing you want to do is learn about transatlantic slave trade. watching documentaries.
Yo.
But she would call me and my brother down and we'd watch the movie, or she'd want to like have talks about it and introduce me. A lot of it was like introducing me to different programs and amazing people that would teach me about my own history and world history, and from there it grew into like a desire to know more about things I don't, right? And I don't know what I don't know, and I won't know until I search for it. So yeah, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you for those comments, gentlemen. We're gonna move on to the next principle, which is giving. All right, Muhammad Ali's fifth core principle, giving, to present voluntary without expecting something in return. All right, Ali traveled the world to learn about his people and to help wherever he could. Even as a world champion, he did not see himself as different from others. He said, "I'll still walk in the ghettos, answer questions, and kiss babies. I'll never forget my people."
I love that quote.
Mm-hmm. What do you love about it?
All right, a person who I really look at a lot as like an inspiration is Benny, right? Benny the Butcher.
Griselda.
Because you have to give back. If you don't, you're doing a disservice to your community and the people who put you in that position. Because if you think about it, as an artist, from an artist standpoint, you have to blow up where you at before you gonna blow up in Cali. Even though it's gonna be a lot of hate, it's gonna be a lot of negative things from your own city, you have to blow up in your city for anybody else to care about you. So it's like giving back, it's almost old, I feel like. Not necessarily to specific people, well sometimes it is, but not necessarily to like certain people all the time, but you just gotta give back to your community. You gotta put back in it to what it did for you, because without this place, you wouldn't have a story. He wouldn't, I'm pretty sure Ali wouldn't be a fighter if he didn't have to fight before he got in the boxing ring. So that's what it is to me. Giving back is just something you should do and you have to do, to be honest.
Since you use the word community, and a part of what we do within Breaking Barriers is making sure that we give back, why is it so important that you guys feel individuals and yourselves give back to the community?
I think giving, you want to go?
I say like the state of the community we're in, we're not in a good state. And whatever we could get, like we desperately need to take on to it. And that's why we need people in this world who are willing to give to our community and be willing to sometimes take from other people, people who may not need what they have, and give it to people who need it the most. And we actually, and something that we talk about here in this program, we talk a lot about equity. And I wish we had the imagery with us, because it's just a perfect imagery of the 2-3 guys, one tiny, one mid-size, one large size at baseball games. So I wish I could show you the photo, but you really got to think, when someone has all this amount of wealth and resources, if you just take a little away and just give it to people who have not that much, like once again, like you're not losing nothing, and at the same time you're giving back to your community in a positive way. And I just wish that as a society, because I feel like we're so I'm about to butcher this word, individualistic. I feel like we could be so much into ourselves, all about, we just want to invest in ourselves, only ourselves, like build ourselves up. But at the same time, we got to realize that we are not just independent people. We depend on other things in the world. Like, for instance, if you're going out to work, you're about to take the bus to work, you say, hey, I'm doing that on my own. You ain't doing that on your own, because you need the bus driver to get there on time in order to get to work. So, like, your life is not just you. Like, you also have other people around you. That's why you need to understand and, like, be more, you got to be more giving. You can't just be, like, your own selfish person. Like, the only way we're going to really, truly thrive in this world is if everyone is at a good point.
Nah, word though, and like statistically, bruh, 17% of the people on this earth, like the upperclassmen of people, use up 87% of the resources.
100%.
So if nobody give back, we'll all die.
Absolutely.
And that's a wild statement, but that's a fact though, because you have to give back. You can't just sit here and just take and not give, because then nothing's gonna come back to you.
You're absolutely right. And it's funny you say that, because there's actually a study done on this. Like the top 1%, because like we have a country that so much favors them, like over the course of 30 to 50 years, they have taken over $1 trillion of wealth that would be given like to the bottom class. And if you were to just like take a little of their wealth and just redistribute that back to the lower class, like people could be in a much better position economically, mentally. It will really like lift the country up, but we need to have that mentality to be able to effectively give. Not just give like little tiny crumbs and little increments here, but actually bring about fundamental change that will really help our community and this entire country.
Give me my 40 acres and a mule. Word.
All right, you talking my language over there. All right, 2 questions came in while you guys were having that discussion. This sounds like another PT question. What is your opinion? Can you do well by doing good? Does a life of service and purpose mean you'll be judged if you also have a good standard of living? That's a lot to unpack there. That's definitely
a deep question.
A PT question.
Really deep question.
PT could have just came and had this conversation. What
word.
thoughts?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah,
Sure.
repeat that for me.
What is your opinion? Can you do well by doing good? Can you do well by doing good?
Wait,
That's the
let's
first
break
part.
that up.
Let's tackle this one first. Can you do well by doing good?
I think you can. Like if you are doing good things in the world, genuine, real good things, and you're having a positive impact, you're going to inspire someone else to do those good things, and then you're going to inspire someone else to do those good things, and then so on and so on. So I think if you like be that leader, be that example, you set the stage for the next people who want to do good.
Facts.
You definitely can do well by doing good.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even really like, that's almost like, duh. Like, yeah, you can. Because it's just like, if somebody didn't care enough, then we wouldn't be here right now. We would be 100%. in the back little house, you know, picking the sugar or the cotton or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely can do well by doing good. That's a fact.
Xavier, I love your response to that question. I got to pound you on that one. That was great. My guy. All right.
Thank you.
Second part of that question. Does a life of service and purpose mean you'll be judged if you also have a good standard of living? I'm going to read it one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Does a life of service and purpose mean you'll be judged if you also have a good standard of living?
I want to take this one.
I was about to say, I was looking at you. I'm like, where you at, deep thinker?
The philosophy student in me is coming out. Now, like the
Yo,
first part of that, I want
word.
that person to expand on that a little bit. Like, what was the first part of it?
Does a life of service and purpose?
No, like before that.
Oh, can you do well by doing good? That was the first question, and then this
What
was
is doing good? I want to get at that, but okay. So like the second half of that, I think that you'll be judged by anybody. I think that just comes with being a human being, you know. I mean, if you're doing service to others and you're living well, then I just think somebody will find something to say about whatever you're doing. I just can't find a clear answer for that. But yeah, just do well and do good for others. So you know, all for it.
Your standard of living, really, you're gonna have that perception, and then someone else is gonna have that perception. So it's like, do what you want that makes you happy, because why not? Why would you live for somebody else? But being a service to people and doing good for people, that's gonna come back to you, even if it doesn't come back to you now. Like, when you don't think it will, that's gonna come back to you, 100%.
I agree with you. I think if you put good energy into the world and you do good things will generally happen for you. And we're gonna leave that question.
Most of the time, though. Most of the time, I say.
All right. Next question, and then we're gonna move on to our last principle. Where do you think the role of mental health comes into play when talking about Ali's core principles?
I think mental health comes into play like very strongly. Now, I think with the core principles, it promotes better mental health, you know, having the confidence and the conviction and keep going, to have that dedication and respect for everybody. It, like in giving, it just builds a certain character that allows somebody to like be favorable to others and also, you know, lead a certain life that will be beneficial to yourself and to the people around you. And mental health, you know, everybody has their own issues, and I think that even with, you know, following those principles as best you can, on top of that also seeking, you know, counsel and guidance. You know.
No, I won't lie. Like just trying to maintain all those 6 core principles, I feel like it could like challenge your mental health, because you know you're trying to go through your life every day trying to just have these, always have these principles and put them into action. But there are always going to be people who challenge those principles. And for me personally, especially being someone who's heavily engaged in politics, that is definitely a mental. It could be a mental load, like negatively on your body. So I would really say that as specifically to conviction as one of the core principles, you just need to push. You got to push through it. Like you need to understand who you are as a person, and you just gotta just like ram yourself through the world, like, and just aspiring to be someone who you want to be, someone who's really gonna have a positive impact on the world. And that's something that no one can take away from you. And if someone want to try and gear me to a different direction, want to put me in a negative place, like I can't let that happen. And, you know, sometimes like I'll get these breakdowns once in a while. I won't lie. I'm not always a mentally strong kid, but at the end of the day, I'm always gonna bounce back and go about my life as the way I want it to be. That will make a huge impact in this world.
You talk about being resilient, and I think that's a principle that all of you have. And I've seen you all be resilient in your own way. So I really love what you said there. This is more. It's a comment and a question. So the audience wants to know, and I'm gonna let you guys tell the audience who this person is. The audience wants to know who PT is, and the comment was obviously he's been very influential in your lives. So I'll let you guys tell the audience who PT has been to you guys, and then I'll talk about PT in a second too.
Yeah, nah, PT, he's basically like a mentor that's like past a mentor. Like he's bond, like he has I'm gonna speak for me, he's like a bond with me that even people that share like a bloodline don't have with me. He's just a person that is a good dude. He old though. You gotta keep that in mind. So like a lot of the stuff he said.
We talking about respecting one of the principles.
Nah, I respect him though. I really respect him. Cause like he just a good man, and that's going back to respect. That's really what it comes down to. And he's just like our mentor and stuff like that. And I don't know, man. He like my granddad, cause like I never really had a big relationship with him, so that would be the closest I would say to my granddad.
For me personally, PT, like just his like aura, his vibe, his personality, like, and especially with me, since he knows like my aspirations in life, he's gonna push me. He's gonna challenge me on everything. He is gonna make sure, hey, that's not. It don't go like that.
Yo, yesterday.
Hey, ooh. And yesterday, I'm glad you mentioned that up, because I'll be public with this. I was a person leaning on the Walton side of the Buffalo Merrill race, and you know when she ended up losing, like he ended up talking to me and enlightening my mind of like what happened like with her campaign, what he personally think like she could have done better. You know, it's just those type of advice that will really help me, especially as someone who wants to get in politics myself. That's something that I'm going to carry on when I ultimately run for office, when I'm in the when I'm in the presidential seat, which I want to get in, and PT, he's definitely the type of mentor you want to have in your ear, like, and no matter what endeavors you have, because he just had that knowledge.
And make sure you hold him to his promise of being your campaign manager too.
Oh no.
All right.
PT to me, he's a leader. He is a leader to, I mean, everyone in the city of Buffalo. I mean, like, he inspires like so many. I mean, I was like so blessed to meet PT like years ago. PT was the instructor for my Bible club at high school. And he used to come at like 7:30 in the morning just to do like Bible study with all of the kids at McKinley High School. And like many years ago, when I was in my last year of college, he was one of my supervisors. And he taught me how to be a successful black man in the workplace, where basically there's certain things that you can do and there's certain things that you cannot do. And I mean, one of the examples was like I came to work and I had wrinkled clothes, and Mr. Daniel and PT was on me saying like, hey, you can't present yourself like that because like you are perceived as different. And I think that like I finally understand like what he meant. Like as black males, we have to have a different, I don't know, like I don't want to say a different vibe, but we have to present ourselves in a neat, professional, and we have to we have to give out our best version of ourselves to a company. I think PT, I mean, he has instilled a lot of good qualities into me, and I am becoming a better leader because of him.
Wait, Malik, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why?
So it was finals week, and unfortunately, I was stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you go to college, when you go to finals, when you have finals, it's like a week of hell where you have like 5 exams, you have no sleep, and you don't even eat at all. And plus, I had to go to work that day too. So working and taking finals, that's just tough. So that's my only excuse. But I learned my lesson.
No, by why, I mean, why do us as black men have to prepare ourselves a certain way?
Because the world perceives us as different. I mean, I feel like whenever we go in public spaces, we are watched more than the typical man or the typical person. Also, it's like we have like negative stigmas. Like in the media, they always portray black males as like thugs and gangsters, and that's not all of us. I think that we have to like change that narrative, and that's the thing that we are learning in Breaking Barriers. That we don't have to follow the typical path. We could be whoever we want. I mean, I think that we need to see black males in different opportunities. I mean, like a lot of, black males in different opportunities. And I feel that like we have to end that stigma. I mean, I think that like we are intelligent, we are powerful, and we are basically people who,
we're kings.
yeah,
We're
thank
kings.
you. We're kings, and we gotta like realize that we are not the thugs, we're not the gangsters, we're not the whatever you wanted to say. I think that like we have to reverse that role and give us a new narrative.
To do a quick add-on to that.
Yes.
I don't.
Y'all want to take us somewhere.
Don't worry.
Please,
I don't want to get us too far.
No, take it.
Because
Take it.
I want to tell this quick little story about how
All right, Dorian.
me and Joseph, it was a Buff State event. We were meeting with these pretty big people who will be beneficial to our program. And I ain't gonna lie, we weren't looking the best that day. We weren't looking the best. But what we did have that strong confidence. We did have that strong conviction. All of Muhammad Ali's core principle, I feel like we showed it that day. And even despite like us not even like looking the part, we made the part. You had people coming up to us talking about, oh wow, your ideas, like your vision, your mindsets, like it was amazing. So I just had to throw that in because that goes into work of changing the narrative.
100%.
All right. Dorian, did you want to I want to make sure I give you a chance to chime in about PT.
Oh yeah, I'll give the old man his flowers.
Please give him his flowers.
You know, I joke with him, you know, you call him old man. It's the type of relationship we have. It's not done disrespectful. It's just, you know,
respectfully.
just how it is, you know, respectfully. So you can tell he cares, right? You know, it's the involvement in the community, the opportunities he extends, the length he goes to make sure that, you know, we're straight and everything, you know. So, I mean, it's like you could say somebody cares, but you can really see it, you can feel it, you can tell, right? You know, so I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Shout out PT. So I appreciate you guys talking about PT, but no one actually said who the man was. So for the viewers at home and those that are listening, PT is short for Pastor Tommy, and we're referring to the great, internationally well-known Tommy McClam. But Tommy, these young men, they've said everything you could possibly say about PT. He's truly a leader in our community, someone that's well respected, and just his hands have been all over this community. The way he touches minds and hearts, especially those of young men, and Buffalo is a much better place because of him. We have a relationship that spans on a bunch of different levels. The one that I appreciate the most is the fact that he's not only a mentor to these young men, but also a mentor to me, and just the father figure that he's been in my life. So with that, we'll move on to our sixth Ali principle, which is spirituality. And I wish PT was up here because this is right up his alley, but spirituality is a sense of awe, reverence, and inner peace inspired by a connection to all of creation and or that which is greater than oneself. Ali believed that the world's spiritual traditions have in common many heart-centered human values: love, hope, charity, justice, and peace. He believed that all religions were connected when he said, rivers, ponds, lakes, and streams, they all have different names, but they all contain water. Just as religions do, they all contain truths. So what are your thoughts on that quote, which I think is a great quote that you guys just heard me read there from Ali?
I think with Ali, there's this sense of interconnectedness through all religions, and it comes to, you know, guiding principles that help us, and even him, you know, get through each of his boxing matches, and, you know, being the sort of person he has to be for the world and for the people he was fighting for, and the principles, well, the values he stood on, and what separated him from the rest, and what made him Ali versus anybody else, right? And you know, spirituality is something heavily ingrained in, I think, humanity in general, and having, you know, this you know, deep tradition, and following it to make sure that we, you know, we are the best we can be. And I think Ali, we strive for that.
So, Mr. Philosopher, I want to go deeper on that analogy. I'm going to read it one more time for you guys. Rivers, ponds, lakes, and streams, they all have different names, but they all contain water, just as religions do. They all contain truths. How do you think that analogy can be used to describe people?
I take it as everybody has a story. Like, nobody's not. Even if it's a person who you don't even respect, they can still teach you something, though. Like, whether it's positive or negative, it's always going to be that inside of a person once you just get to a certain age of just living. So that's what I take it as. Like, they can teach you a lot, which will be like a ocean, right? Or like a lake, in a quote. Or they could teach you a little bit, like a pond. That's what I take it as.
I like the way you broke that down. I didn't think about it like that. That's pretty cool, actually.
Appreciate you, man.
You bring it sometimes. Anybody else?
Can you read it one more time?
I absolutely can, sir.
It's deep.
I know.
It is deep, right? Rivers, ponds, lakes, and streams.
Mm-hmm.
They all had different names, but they all contain water. just as religions do. They all contain truths.
I would say that, like, to me, I take it as like we all have values that like we live by in the world, and even though like we all like draw a different blood, we all may come from different experience, come from different environments. At the end of the day, we're all connected by the values that we share and how we connected to how we connected to each other. And it's funny because you talk about lakes, rivers, streams, the oceans, the waters. At some point, they all do connect with each other, like across this whole entire world, this whole entire planet. So even with us, even though we have like all these different beliefs and values, at the end of the day, we are still connected, as we are still human beings on this planet. We all come from the same God. We all come from the same blood that we draw here on this planet. So I would just say that as long as we always stay principled and keep those values strong, the whole entire world stays strong.
Well said.
My boy got the way with words.
So we're going to continue to take questions from the audience and viewers that may be watching, but I want to ask you guys, we've talked about Ali's 6 core principles here tonight. So what are some principles that you all in your personal lives that you guys kind of live by, and talk about what some of those are and why they're important to you?
I'll go first. Loyalty. Loyalty is number one for me, because like you can love somebody and be disloyal to them. Like, but if you loyal to somebody, then you got them no matter what. No matter if you cool with them, no matter if you're angry with them, no matter what they do. And I feel like loyalty goes hand in hand with like almost an unconditional love, because I don't know, I just really pride myself on that, and like being a loyal person. So even acts of that even me or anybody else displays, I immediately check that or feel a way about that, because I just feel like loyalty. Without loyalty, then what is your morals? Like, who do you belong to? Like, what do you care about if you don't care about loyalty? Care about yourself.
So loyalty for Joseph, got it?
For me, I would say having an open mind. Like, now this doesn't mean that I cave on like my convictions and being uncompromising, because that's I do find that to be an important core principle. But at the same time, you just can't like live in your own little bubble. You can't just go by like your own beliefs and like press it onto everyone else. You have to have that open mind. If you're just gonna like say, oh no, it's my word and my word only, then like you're just never going to get anywhere in life with that. Like, you need to understand that you're not the only person on this earth. You got billions of people on this earth with probably billions, like hundreds of thousands different beliefs coming from all different backgrounds and environments. So for me personally, this is not only like just in the realm of politics, it's just life in general. Like, you just need to understand people. You got to connect them. You got to meet where they're at and just try to like work together on things. Like, you can't it's just not all about you. The world, unfortunately, as much as I wish it could, sometimes it doesn't revolve around you. So I would definitely say just going through life, you need to have that open mind, and if you have that open mind, you could be open to so many different new ideas that can help you become stronger one day.
Love it, love it, love it. So we have loyalty, being open-minded. Malik?
I think resilience. I feel like through our lives as like black males, that's like one of the most important things you have to do, because like it's not easy. I mean, we struggle each and every day, and I think like at moments it's like we think of giving up, but sometimes we just got to keep pushing for the next day, the next week, the next month. And sometimes it's like, I mean, it's moments that like everything does not go our way. And it's just like sometimes like in your mind, you just have to understand that this day is not gonna last forever. It's gonna be a new day, and it's gonna probably have a better outcome the following day. So basically resilience and just never giving up on your goals, your dreams, or anything.
Loyalty, being open-minded, resiliency. I love that one. Every time I hit the ground, I bounce up like round ball. Go ahead, Dorian.
I don't really have a specific word, but for me, it's like doing what I can do best to reduce the amount of bad outcomes for people as much as possible, right? So, like, for what I'm good at and passionate about and what I feel I have an obligation to, like, how can I fit that into making my community and my neighborhood and people around me, you know, how do I reduce what troubles us the most? Like, how can I, you know, use what I can do and, like, you know, help others do that too, to, you know, just keep all the bad away. Yeah, I don't really know how to put a word on it, but I think, yeah, that's what I got.
I think simply that's just your care for community. It kind of ties into service and giving and just love. So I think that's all kind of wrapped up in there. You guys have been awesome tonight. I'm privileged to be able to sit here on this panel with you guys. Appreciate you guys. We're gonna wrap up our session tonight. So big thank you to everyone that watched tonight. For Buffalo Toronto Public Media and Breaking Barriers, I'm Daniel Robertson. Thank you for all the guests and viewers. This was a great conversation tonight. I'll see y'all soon. Be safe.